Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is December 5th. Finally, a busy week of the offseason. Williams are met, Mullins array. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today, ladies and gentlemen? We did it. We had a busy week. A lot of stuff went down. If I remember counting correctly, I think 7-ish signings or so. Very exciting. We've got a big episode and finally things to talk about. Finally, right? Just before the winter meetings get started, it kind of makes sense with the timing of it all. But we're into December. We gotta, sooner or later, the World Baseball Classic starts, and all of a sudden it's, it's gonna come really quickly. When you see moves happen, when you see players get signed, teams make trades, make their teams as good as they can be. That's what we've been waiting for. That's what we're finally getting. So with that all being said, let's jump into the first news, which was the first news overall that came out from the week. But also probably still the biggest news that came out from this week. And that is that Devin Williams was with the New York Yankees. He is going from one train to the next train as he is going to the Mets on a 3-year deal worth $51 million total. Some of that being deferred down the way for Devin Williams, but it is a signing that the Mets are making, and now he is the closer of the bullpen. I'm not sure if this rules out Edwin Diaz making a return or if they go out and get anyone else for the bullpen. But Devin Williams, of course, will be acquired and is heading over to the Mets. And I know Devin Williams, he had a tough 2024, Jesus, living a year back. He had a tough 2025 with the Yankees, but that year should not go against who he has been his entire career, coming off an insane year when he first broke into the league in 2020. That was the COVID year. He finished first in Rookie of the Year voting. He was 7th in Cy Young and 18th in MVP. He, in 22 games, had a 0.33 ERA. He had only given up one run across 27 innings. And from that point on, he was the Brewers' second man after Josh Hader. But once they let go of him, he became the closer. He went on to have amazing season after amazing season, including 2 All-Star appearances. He had 3 straight seasons of sub-2 ERA. He had a 1.93 in 2022, a 1.53 in 2023, and then a 1.25. Now, granted, that 1.25 in 2024, he did miss a lot of time with injury. He only pitched 21 innings that year, where he gave up 3 runs. You look at his entire 6-year career with the Brewers, he nearly accumulated 9 WAR as a relief pitcher, including 308 appearances in games where he made 86 saves. In almost 300 innings, gave up 81 earned runs, a 2.45 ERA with the Milwaukee Brewers across 6 years. With the Yankees last year, he was 4.79 ERA, his worst year of his career, and it's by far. 67 games, 62 innings, only 18 saves. He gave up 33 earned runs. A career high, not even close. The second best was in 2021, where he got 15 earned runs. He more than doubled the earned runs he gave up last year, tying a career high with 5 home runs given up. His strikeouts, 90 strikeouts on the year. Just a horrendous year from Devin Williams. Yankee fans didn't want him. It was groans and moans. They had to do so much at the deadline, bringing in Duvall and Bednar to try to help him out because he was struggling so much from the back end. But again, that's a 1-year sample size, and it's with the Yankees. I've mentioned it before on this podcast, and I think other people mention it too. Sometimes players go to New York, And it just doesn't work. The fit's not there. It's a different game at Yankee Stadium with those fans because those fans will let you have it if you are playing down. Stanton, I remember his first or second year with the Yankees. He was having a really big slump. He had a 4 or 5 strikeout game, and the entire stadium just booed him. And he's your guy. Like, that's something that I know for Yankees fans, and I've seen it with guys like Joey Gallo, Donaldson, just guys in recent years where they go to New York after having good seasons and they just lose every bit of their game. And sometimes when they leave New York, they get it back. Sometimes it's gone forever. I don't think Williams is one of those guys that's gone forever. I think Devin Williams is going to come back. He's going to learn from what he had to take away from the Yankees last year and will be able to apply it into 2026. Now, obviously, another factor is the teams you face. The Yankees, they play the Blue Jays, they play the Red Sox, they play the Baltimore Orioles, they play the Rays. They play those teams a lot more. When if you were the Brewers, you're playing a really bad Pirates team a lot of times. You're playing a really bad Reds team at the times. The Cardinals, the Cubs those years. Like the Brewers the last couple of years, they've won their division pretty easily. Even last year with the Cubs on their tail, they still were way ahead of the rest. The Brewers are a very good team. They play teams that aren't as good. The East is a lot more competitive. The AL East is a lot more competitive. Could have that been a factor into his down year? Absolutely. All in all, I think Devin Williams is still a top 10 relief pitcher in our game, top 10 closer. Despite the down year, I think it's very likely he comes back next year and just brings it and is a big contributor as to why the Mets could make a playoff push next year. There's obviously the Mets are trying to improve on their team. They knew where they went wrong this year. They had their downfall towards the end of the season. They've now flipped Nimmo for Simeon. Now they bring in Williams. So you start to see the shakeups that the Mets are trying to make here. Again, you're still missing a big bat in the lineup, whether it is Pete Alonso, whether they go out and get someone else. I still think there's a bat missing there for the Mets. But all in all, to say, oh, we lost Edwin Diaz, but we got Devin Williams, I'm not going to say that's an upgrade. I would definitely prefer Edwin Diaz off of recent years rather than Williams. But it's not like a tragic downgrade where you're going from a top 5 closer to a bottom 5 closer. Williams is still going to be out there. He's still going to be a dog. I think the Mets are very happy with this move. I think Williams is happy to know that there are some teams that still know his value. $51 million for 3 years for a relief pitcher. That's still a lot of money. That's still a heaping amount of cheese in the pockets there for Williams. So I think he's happy with his deal. From what I've seen, there's no opt-outs or anything like that. So it's going to be Williams a Met, 3 years guaranteed. And the Mets are obviously praying that he finds his form back that he had with the Brewers, and they didn't just acquire a guy who's going to have a 4.5 ERA for 3 years when he's supposed to be the closer, right? Because that would definitely screw the Mets. But also, as the Mets go, the Mets will Mets, so, it could also go sideways for them. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but I think it's a fun move for the Mets. I think it's a good move and a good replacement for Edwin Diaz if they don't get him back. And I think he's obviously happy with it. And, he had some shots for the Yankee faithful out there because they were complaining that he went to the Mets, but he also said that they wanted him off the team. And so it's which one do you want? Do you want me on the Yankees or off the Yankees? You guys can't make up your mind, so I will go and be a Met. And, of course, this is now the second year in a row. The Yankees, I guess, top free agent or one of their top free agents went from the Yankees to the Mets. Of course, last year, Juan Soto. This year, Devin Williams. Maybe Cody Bellinger joins the Mets. Who knows, right? Regardless, Devin Williams joins the Mets and is now their closer as it stands as of December 5th. Moving on here, we're going to go in kind of the order of which moves were happening and things that I was writing down. So the next thing that happened that worth talking about is that Alek Manoah signed a 1-year deal with the Angels for $1.95 million, so nearly $2 million. I've talked about Manoah at times, and I still believe in this guy. You know, some people will come up and make a statement into your hearts, into your minds. Alek Manoah did that for me back in 2021 with the Blue Jays, of course. A 9-2 record, a 3.22 ERA, finished 8th in Rookie of the Year voting. Next year, he came out and was brilliant. 16-7, 6 WAR, a 2.24 ERA with 196 innings, 180 strikeouts. He was an all-star, finished 3rd in Cy Young voting. The following year, it went downhill big time. He was bad. Really bad. Finished with a 5.87 ERA. Was sent down to AAA, got sent back up, went down to the lowest level in the Jays organization. He didn't report. There was some drama there, whatever. He gets hurt, comes back ready to go into 2024. And when he was pitching that year, I thought he was pretty good. Across 5 starts that he made, he pitched 24 innings with a 3.7 ERA, gave up 10 earned runs with 26 strikeouts. During that year, he got hurt, needed Tommy John surgery, so he missed all of 2025. When he was back and healthy, he never got back up to the major league level. He was doing some rehab stints, and his stuff was down a little bit. His fastball wasn't really clicking to where it was. He was still getting a couple of productive outs, but it definitely wasn't the Manoah that they needed. So the Jays ended up DFAing him when Santander was healthy and ready to go. From that point, Manoah bounced around a little bit, ended up on the Braves, getting claimed by the Braves, did not make an appearance. The Braves cut him on the waivers and fell into the free agency pool, where it's the Angels that pick him up. And for the Angels, I think this is a great move because it's an Angels team that always needs pitching. And, you know, you're paying $2 million for a guy who finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting. You know, obviously that's 3-4 years ago now removed, but I think he still has it. I know, you know, some guys come back from Tommy John and instantly find it, instantly don't. You know, I think some guys take some time, but I think Manoah is still... he's got that mentality that he wants to be out there. He knows the kind of player that he is. And I think he has the ability still to go out there and shove for the Angels. Now, this is a major league contract, so he is going to be with the team. It's not going to be, you know, sending down to minors. He's going to be there, you know, unless he's hurt or anything. But I still believe in Manoah. And the thing is, because of the service time that he has, this technical $1.95 million that the Angels are spending goes into second-year arbitration. So let's say Manoah comes out, has a fantastic year. The Angels are already guaranteed to have him next year for 2027 guaranteed. In what would be his 3rd year of arbitration. So they would sort that out with him. He would be able to stay with the Halos into next year. So it's a 1-year deal, but there is that chance that it could be, you know, he could get up that second arbitration year. He is going to be with team control. So it's not like this 1 year will happen. If he pitches really well, he can go back to free agency. He is going to be with the Angels organization into 2027 unless he gets released, non-tendered, etc., right, or traded. But for now, Manoah, Angel, great move, love it, and all the best from Noah. I really hope he figures it out and can go back to being a dog that he once was. Speaking of dogs that were once something and is now nothing, and is now something again, Cody Ponce is coming back to Major League Baseball. He is signing a 3-year, $30 million deal with the defending AL champion Toronto Blue Jays. They continue to make moves and make signings. First, it was Dylan Cease. Now it is Cody Ponce as they load up on their rotation. And if you're trying to think, who is Cody Ponce? Why does that name sound familiar? Well, you probably don't know much about him. He was with the Pittsburgh Pirates during the COVID season in 2022 and into 2021. In total, in those 2 years with the Pirates, he played in 20 games at the major league level, making 5 starts. He pitched 55 innings, gave up 36 earned runs for a 5.86 ERA in his MLB career, and 1-7 in his career with the Pirates. From that point on, he left Major League Baseball, went to the KBO, and in the last 4 years, he has slowly figured things out. He's had decent years kind of going around the 4-point mark, etc. In 2022, he had a 3.45 ERA. In 2023, a 4.08 ERA. In 2024, he pitched to a 4.61 ERA. The difference in those 3 years is that he was still coming out of the bullpen. He was coming out long relief situations, made a couple of starts every now and then, but was more of a bullpen usage guy. It wasn't anything, long relief kind of thing. Last year, in 2025, he was officially a starter. They said, hey, you know what? We're going to sign you here. You're going to be our starter. Go forward with that. He played in 29 games. He pitched 180 and 2/3 innings. He gave up 38 earned runs, struck out 252 batters, and his ERA was a sub-2, sitting at 1.89. Easily the best year of his life. 17-1 record, 1.69. It's a KBO record with a single season strikeout leader with 252. He also broke the single game record where he got 18 Ks in a single game. Not only that, he was named the league MVP. So what happens then? You come back to Major League Baseball, and the Blue Jays are taking a gamble. 3 years, $30 million on a guy who at the Major League level has struggled. Again, 2 years short in sample size, but again, in those 2 years, 20 games, 5 starts, right? When he's the only season he's pitched as a starter, he's an MVP, a 1.89 ERA, 252 Ks, single game record for 18, league record with 252 with Ks. A sensational year. And the Blue Jays will bring him back from the KBO back to Major League Baseball. He is going to be a Blue Jay into 2026 and 2 more years after that year. Cody Ponce returning to Major League Baseball. Good for him, and hopefully both for him and for the Blue Jays, this deal works out in a big, big way. And he can find some success at the Major League level as a starter. The Blue Jays now got an overload. You've got Gausman, you've got your Savage, you've got Bieber, now you have Cease, now you have Ponce. Barrios, what do they do with him now? I mean, I'd like him to stay as a Blue Jay, but maybe they look for a trade outlet from him. What about Bowden Francis? I mean, this guy was the best pitcher in baseball for 2 months at the end of 2024, had an awful 2025, then got hurt. What's his deal saying? Is it depth? Is it bullpen pieces? The Jays will have a lot of questions and have a lot of ways to handle a rotation that is now bolstered with guys, and who knows who's next. Obviously, they still need to hunt a big bat, but we'll talk about a little bit more of that coming up. As we move on to another sign that happened over the week, and this one is a little bit of a fun one that I did not see coming, but I love it just as much. Cedric Mullins is heading to the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a 1-year deal worth $7 million. Cedric Mullins, Silver Slugger, he's got an all-star. He is a great ball player. He spent an 8-year career, or 7.5, I would say, with Baltimore, where he debuted in 2018. If you remember his 2021 campaign, that was something special. He was 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. That was the year he was an all-star. That was the year he was a Silver Slugger. He finished 9th in MVP voting. Since that point, he's been good. 2022, he had a 4-point WAR. He had 16 home runs, a 721 OPS. 2023, 94 hits across 116 games. A little bit of time hurt, but it's still the right ball player. But really, since 2021, each year has kind of been a down year. Entering last year in 2025, when he was with Baltimore, played in 91 games, where he had 72 hits and 15 home runs. He had a 2.29 batting average and a 7.38 OPS. Of course, Baltimore loaded with young talent. And on his final year of the contract, Baltimore not good. They end up shipping him to the New York Mets to help with their postseason push. Again, that's when the Mets, their trade deadline guys of Mullins and Helsley, they went awry. The whole team went awry, and they ended up missing the playoffs. Mullins really struggled with the Mets. In 42 games, he had 22 hits, only 2 home runs. His batting average went from 229 down to a 182 when he was with the Mets and a 565 OPS. As a whole, last year, between his time with Baltimore and with the Mets, played in 133 games with 94 hits, a 216 batting average, and a 690 OPS. This guy once could have earned, 15 mil a year for a 3-4 year deal. That's kind of what I was looking at for him. 4 years, 65 million. If he was a free agent after 2022 or 2023. Now he's on a 1-year deal with the Rays. He's heading back to the AL East. He'll play Baltimore. He'll play, where he's familiar with, going back, to the AL side of the East there. And for the Rays, I love it. You bring in a veteran kind of guy here to help with some of your young outfielders. And, $7 million is still a decent amount for a guy who definitely is on a downward trajectory. He really needs to turn it around. And the Rays could be a good team to do that in. Of course, the Rays, we're still not confirming where they will be playing in 2026. We've been getting updates about Tropicana Field. The roof has been fixed, and a lot of the officials there are optimistic that the Rays will be able to return to Tropicana Field for 2026. Again, we will still see and wait for any confirmation from there, but whether they play at Tropicana, whether it's Steinbrenner, whether it's some other third operational field, etc., I think Mullins will have definitely has the tools to bounce back and to kind of try to find that form. I don't think that 2021 season is possible again. I don't think he's going, 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases. I don't think those are in the cards for him, but can he be a B+ hitter with his A- defense? Yes, I think that's on the table. I think 20 home runs are on the table for him if he really gets his power swing back. A 750 OPS, that's definitely possible. Can he get his batting average back to 230, 240? Maybe, I think it could happen, but, we're getting to a point where, as guys continue to come up, teams getting young pitchers who throw faster and harder, we're seeing some guys that can't catch up to this speed. And I think Mullins is one of those guys that has definitely struggled with getting up to a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. He has done before, but, over the course, if he sees 100-mile-an-hour pitches, how many are going to hit? It's not going to be 50-50. It's going to be, 20. It's going to be 15. Like, it's definitely struggling to hit the fastball, and then you mix it up with some of these amazing off-speed pitches that some of these guys have. Mullins definitely needs to find a way to bounce back. Obviously, defense is still not an issue. He's still like I said, A- defender. He's one of the great defenders in the game. But it is that bat that needs to come around and find a way to produce. And hopefully he's able to do that with the Rays going into 2025. But the Rays have a new outfielder. Moving on now, we've got another guy making a return to Major League Baseball as the White Sox are making a move. They are signing Anthony Kay to a 2-year, $12 million deal after he spent the last 2 seasons in Japan. There is also a $10 million mutual option for 2028. Now, again, similar to Cody Ponce in a way, Anthony Kay... see what I did there, rhyming? Anthony Kay was with the Major League teams back when he debuted with the Blue Jays in 2019, where he spent 4 years with the Blue Jays, coming out of the pen, making a couple starts here and there, not really great. He then, in 2023, signed with the Cubs for an opportunity, struggled mightily there. The Mets gave him a shot, struggled there. In total, in his years from 2019 to 2023 with the Jays, Cubs, and Mets, he has played in 28 major league games where he has a 5.48 ERA, does have 4 wins, does have 2 losses. But yeah, I mean, a 5.59 ERA. Sorry, that's 28 games? Sorry, 44 games pitched. 44 games, a 5.59 ERA, 85 innings, 53 earned runs, 12 home runs. That is what his 5-year career says about him. Not very great numbers, so he goes to Japan. He goes to the Central League, the Japanese Central League there. Last year, in 2024, he pitched a 3.28 ERA in 26 games out of the bullpen, or just going in and starting stuff there. This year, I guess, in 2025, at the age of 30, he pitched 24 games. He pitched 155 innings, and his ERA was a 1.74. Now, I start to wonder, because I know Anthony Kay. I know him pretty well. I've seen him pitch before. Cody, Ponce, same thing now. I know it's different leagues, but maybe it was a down year in the West Coast or in the East Coast of baseball. Like, I have no idea. To me, Anthony Kay was never a guy that was able to get big league success. But we've also seen pitchers tap into their own late in their careers. Now at the age of 30, maybe Anthony Kay will figure it out. The White Sox are a team that could use anything, So, I mean, if this was Anthony Kay to the Astros or to the Marlins, I'd be scratching my head a lot more. Going to the White Sox, this is perfect. You get a guy who, at the best case scenario, will pitch really well, like he did last year or this year, but when 2026 comes, it would be last year. Anthony Kay, you get to come back to Major League Baseball. You get to see if you're able to really tap into something here at the Major League level. It's a win-win. He gets to come back, make some money. White Sox got a guy where, I mean, worst case scenario, he's on par with the rest of the team. The team's not good. So, I mean, does it matter if he's bad? No, because you guys aren't going to be good regardless. So it is generally the best case scenario. So good luck for Anthony Kay. Hopefully he figures it out at the Major League level finally. And for the White Sox, find more signings like this. Go and get Tim Anderson back if you want. Go and get guys who have nothing to lose and see if they can tap into anything with you guys. Moving on here, we had 2 more signings, both of which were re-signings. One being Miguel Rojas, re-signing a 1-year deal with the Dodgers for $5.5 million, and then Emilio Pagan heading back to the Reds on a 2-year, $20 million deal with a player opt-out after 2026. We'll start with Rojas, who again is a hero for the Dodgers. Going back to Game 7 of the World Series, his home run tied the game up in the 9th when the Dodgers were 2 outs away from losing the World Series. They go into extras. They then win. It was announced that Rojas has signed this 1-year deal. It is also announced that he will be retiring after this year. So this is the last season of Miguel Rojas. And from there, he will stay with the Dodgers internally within the organization. He will be a player development position as soon as his time with the Dodgers and his time playing Major League Baseball comes to an end. So Rojas, 1 final year, a farewell tour, $5.5 million, and then will be with the Dodgers in a player development role going on to 2027 and beyond. That is with the Miguel Rojas situation. Again, he's depth. He can play the infield, maybe play some second base, play some shortstop with guys getting hurt. Last year, 2.1 WAR, had 76 hits, 114 games, had a 262 batting average and a 715 OPS. In 12 years as a career, between times with the Dodgers and the Miami Marlins, he has 19.3 WAR. He has 988 hits, so he's going to get to the 1,000 mark this year. Hopefully, that would be great for him. 57 homers, 260 batting average, a 675 OPS guy. He's a team player. He's a depth guy. People love him. I love him. He's a great guy. The Dodgers will hold him on to 1 final year. Moving into Emilio Pagan, a little bit more interesting. He had a career year with the Reds, a 2.88 ERA with 32 saves. Is most he's ever gotten in a career, kind of the first time he's been the kind of closer and the save guy. 68.2 innings pitched, where he gave up 10 homers, 22 runs, struck out 81 batters at a 2-4 record, and of course helped get the Reds to a postseason. Of course, losing both games to the Dodgers, but they got to the postseason. That's something to look at. A really strong year for him. He will come back to the Reds for 1 year, $10 million guaranteed. And then it is Emilio Pagan's choice to stay for that second year into 2027. So if he comes out, pitches poorly, he'll probably will take the player option, stay with the Reds into 2027 for $10 million. If he pitches really well again, then that's 2 years of really well-pitched, appearances and really well-pitched seasons for Pagan. Maybe you go out and you find a 3-4 year deal for, $13 million, $12 million, who knows? Pagan, he's been around for a while. He's got 9 years in the big leagues with a 6.4 WAR. In those 9 years, he's played for Seattle, Oakland, Tampa Bay, San Diego, Minnesota, and Cincinnati. He is going to be 35 this year, so the clock doth tick on him. There's a good chance I feel like he will be with the player. He'll take that player option with the Reds. It'll be very difficult for him to opt out unless he has a godly season, to find, a team, to pay 15 mil, let's say, whatever it be. 10 million, I think, is solid for a guy like Pagan and his numbers. If you go his career numbers, he's 28 and 27, out of the bullpen, 6.4 WAR, a 3.66 ERA across 477 games of his career with 506 innings and 581 strikeouts. That's the kind of guy you get from Pagan. 10 million is fair. I think the player option is nice, and it's a good option there for him going forward and gives him a little bit more security going into 2027. So Emilio Pagan back to the Reds. Will he be the closer? Will they sign someone else? I don't know, but the Reds, again, coming off a postseason appearance here, they'll look to do as many addings as they can and to see if they can get back to where they were last year and try to keep developing and, helping out the guys there. Obviously the rotation and, third base kind of got a hole there, the bats, the offense. But yeah, I like it for the Reds and I like it for Pagan, so good for both of those guys. Now, the last kind of big move that happened was not a signing. It was a 5-player trade that took place yesterday between the Red Sox and the Pirates. The Red Sox are acquiring Johan Oviedo, starting pitcher from the Pittsburgh Pirates, as well as Tyler Samanigo and Adonis Guzman, 2 prospects from the Pirates, one being a relief pitcher, one being a catcher. The Pirates, on the other hand, are getting starting pitcher Jesus Travieso. Probably butchered that one badly. But more importantly, they're getting a top 100 prospect in Joxton Nixon Garcia, a.k.a. The Password, an outfielder prospect from the Red Sox. So, the 2 names to really know, obviously, is The Password, Garcia there, as well as Johan Oviedo, who has been with the Pirates at the Major League level for the last 4 years, I believe. He debuted back in 2022 with the Cardinals. From there, spent 2.5 years with St. Louis before getting traded to Pittsburgh in 2022. He pitched in 2022 and 2023, was hurt and did not pitch in 2024, but came back in 2025. Last year with the Pirates, played in 9 games, a 3.57 ERA, 2-1 record, 40 innings, 42 strikeouts, 6 homers, 23 walks is what I kept looking at, 26 hits allowed as well. He's a back-end kind of bullpen piece that, had some success and has some depth in his career and in his bag there. His career numbers in 5 years since COVID all the way to now, 4.24 ERA in 81 games where he made 67 starts. He has a 15 wins, 26 losses, and a career 3 WAR with the Pirates, essentially. So he is heading to Boston now to kind of shore up the back end of the bullpen there. He is entering his second year of arbitration, so the Red Sox will also get him after for 2027 if they so choose to. If they do, then he would guarantee be a free agent after 2027 into 2028. So the Pirates are giving up basically 2 years of control on Oviedo, as well as 2 of their, ish prospects for getting another ish prospect back, but also getting that top 100 prospect in Joxton Garcia, who did get called up for a small, short stint with the Red Sox at the end of the year. Didn't do anything crazy with that time, but, is a name to note going forward. And it's kind of nice to see that, Pirates are doing something. I mean, you can sit there and be like, oh, they're getting rid of a guy who's made himself as a major league level talent for another prospect, another young kid. And I would agree, but Garcia is, I would say, close to, if not ready for that big league opportunity. He played 5 games with Boston last year. He had 7 at-bats where he had a hit, which was a double. He has, one for 7 with a double and 2 walks. And I mean, the other 6 at-bats, 5 of them were strikeouts. So, I mean, definitely, but it's an adjustment period for him and for the team and everything. And now it's going to be even more so as he heads now from Boston to Pittsburgh. But, I think the Pirates need to find ways to add onto that rotation to help out Skeens and Keller, I guess, unless Keller gets traded at some point. I'm very curious to see what the Pirates plan on doing this offseason because, again, time is ticking with Skeens. You got to get into the postseason with him at some point in the next 2-3 seasons. Otherwise, it's just so easy for him to walk away. Unless you plan on extending him, which you should be trying to do. I don't know what the plan is going forward there. But regardless, for Boston, Garcia is a prospect. It's a heavy name to give up for, a guy who is maybe 4th in your rotation at best. But again, sometimes prospects don't turn out the way you want. And I think what you're kind of going to get out of Johan Oviedo. You don't know exactly what Garcia could get. Maybe we look back at this trade in 5 years and Garcia has been a 3-time All-Star and this great talent for Pirates. And we'll be like, wow, Boston really screwed that up. Or maybe we talk about Garcia like we talk about some of the other names, like a Kyle Lewis, like a Jared Kelenic, a guy who had the potential that just could never figure it out. And then Johan was solid for Boston, And then we talk about, oh yeah, Boston won that trade. It's just the way of baseball. It's been this way for years. It's always going to be this way, with trades and all this stuff. You don't know what they're gonna bring to their game and to their level when they have a new seeding, a new, Pittsburgh is a different setting and a different atmosphere, different pressure. Some guys perform well under pressure, some guys don't. Maybe now with Pittsburgh, that pressure gets taken off of him a little bit and he's able to shine a lot more, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. I'd expect him to be up with the Pirates this year, maybe not breaking camp, but called up early April, maybe into May a little bit, but regardless, we'll have to wait and see with Garcia, and obviously Johan will be with the Red Sox. Moving on here, some not so on hands baseball moves here. The Rockies have officially named their new GM, his name being Josh Burns. I believe that's how it's pronounced, with Byrnes. He, of course, has been a general manager before. He spent 4 seasons with the D-backs from 2006 to 2010, where he then took up a job with the Padres from 2011 to 2014. And now he's with the Rockies. So he's been with 3 teams across the NL West here. So he knows the NL West now, and he knows how to find some major league talent. Guys that he's gotten for those Diamondbacks teams, for those Padres teams, guys including Paul Goldschmidt, A.J. Pollock, Max Scherzer when he was with the Diamondbacks, guys like Max Fried, Yasmani Grandal, Trey Turner when he was with the Padres. So he knows his way around a field. He knows what he looks for in some prospects and some top talent. he and the rest of the team, I'm sure, will draft well. And it's kind of what his MO is in a way, is drafting well and kind of, building up talent, finding prospects that, were underlooked, starting to show, but you're not sure. He knows if those guys are guys, and we'll see going forward what that actually means for the Rockies. Hopefully he can help things turn things around for them. They're kind of at rock bottom in a way, but again, the only thing great about being rock bottom is that there's only one way to go, and that is up. And hopefully Josh is able to, level the Rockies a little bit, get them on a playing field. It'll be tricky, but trying to get them at the same level or close to with, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and if, by God's miracle, the Dodgers. I think the Rockies next year, anything better than fifth is a win. Obviously, not even. It's a great chance the Rockies will finish fifth in the division. Anything that's like 10 games better than they were this year. They lost a lot this year. So we'll see if he can help a little bit right their ways. But of course, it takes a little bit of time there. Last thing to mention is some rumors and some sightings, some etc. stuff here to talk about. Some things that popped up that I thought were interesting is that the Dodgers are potentially shopping around Teoscar Hernandez. Teo for me is an A+ bat. My A+ a little bit generous. It's a B+ bat. He's got a lot of power in the world. He's got some swing and miss in his game. For me, the defense definitely isn't 100% and isn't great. And of course, the Dodgers with Ohtani being the DH, Teo needs to play in the outfield. Is that too much of a hinder for the Dodgers? Could they find a match for a team to take on that contract? And, because he is a great bat, if he plays a DH, he is a great player. So that's something that I thought was interesting. Another thing that I want to mention is that Kyle Tucker was seen this week at the Blue Jays complex in Dunedin, Florida, checking it out. So obviously the Jays in the running for Tucker. They've of course handed out a big contract already to Dylan Cease, and the question is, they've definitely got a big contract in them. Is it gonna be Kyle Tucker? Is it gonna be Bo Bichette? There's definitely a toss up on who they're gonna get right now, but it's the way people have been talking, the way the news has been reporting, the way the Jays have been so aggressive this offseason early on here. I feel like it's likely that Toronto will nail one of Bichette or Tucker. The question is, who do you go and get? The guy that's been with your organization, who's been best buds with Vladdy, and the guy that and the guy who, when healthy, just is a hit machine in Bo Bichette? Or do you get a guy who lefty power bat, who knows what he's doing, works his way, plays a great glove defensively, you lock up a corner outfield spot, he hits for contact, he hits for power, and Kyle Tucker, it's interesting, but this just confirms that Kyle Tucker and the Blue Jays are in communication. They are looking and working at a deal potentially, but if they reach something, you would almost assume that Bichette is gone unless they're somehow miraculously able to get both. But yeah, Kyle Tucker seems a butcher's complex. I want to mention that. And finally, we had a big week of baseball, a big week of the off season. As we end off today's episode, it is nice to finally have that in our pockets. We were able to have a good long episode that actually, consisted of a lot of baseball moves and signings and trade, a big trade, and we had a bunch of signings, and we're only going to get more and more of that. Still, so many players are free agents and left to be signed, and so many players swirling in trade talks, and it definitely helps with the winter meetings. They're kicking off on Monday in Orlando, so you'll have so many of the free agents, so many GMs, and people from all over, all 30 MLB teams, so many reporters, and so many people across the Major League field at these winter meetings. You'd expect deals to get done. You'd expect trades to happen. It's going to be a big week next week, I feel, and even already maybe starting this weekend, who knows? But that is how we're going to do it for our episode here today. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you on the next episode.